What's up, land dwellers? So today we're talking about the Arnold press. Now this is one of my favorite pressing movements. It is named after the great Arnold Schwarzenegger. So this is obviously going to be a great exercise. Anything named after Arnold is going to be pretty good. Like the Arnold row, the Arnold bench, the Arnold squat. Why aren't more exercises named after Arnold? The world may never know. Anyway, so this is going to be a great exercise for all heads of the shoulder. Now, you may have heard that the shoulder has three heads: the front, the side, and the rear, or the anterior, the lateral, and the posterior, if you want to go all science talky. That is not actually true. It has 7 heads. So there are actually 3 in the front, 3 anterior heads of the deltoid. There's 1 on the side, lateral head, and then there are 3 in the back, 3 in the posterior of the shoulder. So how does this actually affect anything? It doesn't. It's just cool and most people don't know it, so I thought I'd share it with you. Anyway, this exercise is going to work mostly the front and a little bit of the side deltoid. It does also work a little bit of the posterior heads, but I would say it is primarily a front and side delt exercise. So to perform the exercise, it's a little bit different than a standard dumbbell press. As you can see, I am bringing the dumbbells down in front when doing the movement in order to actually get a full stretch on the front of the deltoid. This greater range of motion means that you won't be able to use as much weight. I would say you might have to cut your poundage or your kiloage roughly in maybe 30% less, or maybe even 40% less, just because it is a more challenging movement. It requires more range of motion, more stability, and a lot more focus and concentration as well. It's also very, very shoulder friendly because you're not in a pinned back position in that bottom position. So compared to the Klokov press, where you are starting behind the neck, at no point are you in that sort of awkward and potentially risky position. So if you have sort of not the best mobility in the world, maybe you are at the computer all day, or you just don't really have that great of mobility for some other reason, this could be a good option, and it's a good way to actually build up your mobility. In terms of the strength curve, I find that it's actually pretty even. It's difficult in the mid-range and as well at the contracted position. So unlike a traditional shoulder press, where there's usually a sticking point just in the middle, this is actually pretty challenging to lock out as well. In order to get a full contraction, as you can see here, it's pretty tough to actually fully lock out at the top. So this is good because it is working the side delt significantly more than a normal dumbbell press. And honestly, I don't even think Arnold created these. Here's a video of Larry Scott, the first Mr. Olympia, doing a very, very similar movement. As you can see, the focus, the emphasis is on the rotation. If you saw someone pressing like this in your gym, you would probably think, what is this guy doing? But this guy knows his shit. Okay, he is the first Mr. Olympia, and I'm sure Arnold saw him doing these or heard about him doing these and copied them as well, and they are now named, kind of unfortunately, the Arnold press instead of the Scott press. And as you can see, he is rotating with every single rep. He's not actually using full range of motion, but he is trying to keep constant tension on that side delt. And he's teaching this dude, and you can see the focus is on the rotation. It's not just on pressing up, but it's on rotating back. And you can see him, teaching this guy pretty well and guiding him through the motions, focusing on squeezing back with the elbow. And this is going to give you a much, much better contraction and feel of the exercise. Now, I still advocate a greater range of motion. This is sort of a different variation that you can use. But I would say focus on that external rotation. You can see here, I bring them down in front and then I rotate as I press upwards. That is going to be the key. Don't rotate then press upwards. You need to rotate and press upwards at the same exact time. In terms of how to actually work it into your program, which I think is important and most people don't actually talk about when they do an exercise tutorial for some reason, I would say at least 6 reps would be a very good minimum. It's a lighter exercise. It's more of a pumping style movement. So I would say at least 6, and probably 10 is going to be better. I often do maybe 15 reps, even up to 20 or 30 reps. And I've seen good progress from that. So keep the reps high, focus on the mind-muscle connection, and you're going to get better results from it. In terms of volume, because the weights are lighter and it's a more pumping style of movement, I would say you can do quite a few sets. I usually write this in for maybe 4, 5, 6, maybe even 7 or 8 working sets, all pretty close to failure, and I've seen benefits from doing so. So don't be afraid of doing a pretty good amount of volume. If your joints feel healthy, your elbows, your shoulders, your traps, your rotator cuff, it should be fine to do some pretty decent amounts of volume on this exercise. If you tried to do that on, wide grip, flat barbell bench press, you might have some issues. But for this, it's probably okay. Finally, you want to control the negative. So I try to do this as much as possible, kind of failing at some points here, but as best you can, try to do it better than me, better than last time. Try to control the entire range of motion, okay? Try not to lean back too much. I try to do these without a seat in the back of the bench. I just do these seated on a bench with no support. I think that's a better way to do it. It helps keep you a little bit more upright, and it keeps you from cheating by leaning back. Don't turn this into some kind of very strange incline bench press, okay? It is a press. It's not an incline press or a bench press. So keep upright, keep strict. You can even do these standing if you really want to. I think that's a good option as well. But either way, don't cheat them or you're just cheating yourself. You're not going to be going into an Arnold press competition, so don't worry too much about the weight that you are lifting. Oh man, they loved that joke, didn't they? Even more finally, I want to say a special thank you to all of my long-term clients. You allow me to do what I do. That is the vast majority of my income. I am primarily a coach, and I am not a YouTuber really because I don't make any money from YouTube. So thank you so much for supporting me, and it is my great honor to help you get to all of your goals. So there are still a few long-term coaching positions open. The price will continue to go up week by week and month by month as demand grows. But don't worry, prices will never go up for current clients. So if you're interested in becoming a client, drop me an email. Clearly, I'm very good at this marketing thing. Anyway, so that is all for this video, and I'll see you in the next of the videos. Yeah. Bye. Peace. Subscribe to the channel.
Subscribe to channel.
And you will get
so
many gains.
many gains.
Yeah.
Yeah.